So the question is, was this a sign we should only have an 8-team playoff? College football at its core is an inherently broken system. It's a league where only 5 to 6 teams have a true shot of winning the national championship. And this is how it's been as long as I've been watching. It's how it's been before that. And it's how it'll always be. Now, those 5 to 6 teams can fluctuate throughout each year, providing some variety. Because of the way the system works, only a handful of teams can put themselves in a position to be true contenders. The top high school and transfer recruits want 3 things: money from NIL deals, a chance to win a championship, and to get drafted to the NFL. Well, going to a small school doesn't help those chances, so they go to big schools. And those big schools, they win, they get more media attention, and then because of that, they have more money, they have better chance of getting drafted, and they have better chance of winning national champions. And the cycle continues. That's how it's always been, and that's how it always went. When the playoffs got moved to 4 teams from the BCS style, it made so much sense because, again, only 5 to 6 teams on a given year could win the national championship. So give them all a fair shot, and we'll know who the real champion is. But each year, we have 1 to 3 teams who don't make it, and they and their fan base thought they were worthy of at least a shot. Last year's Florida State, 2022 Alabama, 2021 Ohio State. So the playoffs needed an expansion in order to actually see who the best teams were. Some people thought a 6 or 8 team playoff was perfect. Others thought a 12 team was the way to provide the smaller teams a chance as well. And more than likely, due to money, the 12 team playoff won, and we saw the outcome of that this year. All 4 first round games were blowouts. And in the second round, I'm recording this on Wednesday the 1st, so we saw Penn State blow out Boise State, and it wasn't really as close as the score showed. And Ohio State currently is destroying Oregon. Now, that wasn't supposed to be a blowout, but we got one anyways. And surprisingly, Arizona State put up a hell of a fight versus Texas. But we saw Arizona play arguably the best possible football game they could, and Texas didn't really play their best, and Texas still came out on top. So the question is, was this a sign we should only have an 8-team playoff? If you truly want the playoffs to be the best, it can be that's probably the best answer. If you got rid of automatic bids and look at the top 8 ranked teams, well, that's probably the top 8 teams talent-wise. But does that make the entirety of college football better only having an 8-team playoff? With the 12-team playoff, we saw so many more teams play with purpose. I'm not saying these teams wouldn't have tried without the 12-team playoffs, but the ACC championship game really mattered for Clemson to get in. It really mattered for SMU seeding-wise. The Big 12 championship game really mattered as the winner got in and the loser wouldn't. And we saw the result of letting a Big 12 team in the playoffs. Arizona State gave us, as of now, the best playoff game we've gotten. The last few weeks, teams that would have already been eliminated still had a chance, and the teams that were eliminated still saw a world where they could play spoiler. The 12-team playoffs will almost always result in blowouts week 1. There will be occasional upsets, there will be some Cinderella runs, and it'll be absolutely awesome, but it'll be rare. And if your goal is to make the playoffs as best as possible, it should only be 8 teams, maybe even 6. But if you want the entirety of the whole college football season to be great and keep those last 3 to 4 weeks as important as possible, the 12-team college football playoffs made the sport as perfect as we can get it. Now, the college football playoffs do need adjusted, so to see how I would fix the 12-team playoffs, check out my last video. But we still have, in my opinion, one of the greatest sports ever.